In the spring of 2017, as aides gathered in the Oval Office one day to brief President Trump on upcoming meetings with foreign leaders, they made a passing reference to some foreign government officials who were under scrutiny for corruption, for taking bribes. Trump perked up at the mention of bribes and got rather agitated. He then told Secretary of State Rex Tillerson he wanted him to help get rid of the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act. Quote, "It is just so unfair that American companies are not allowed to pay bribes to get business overseas," Trump told the group. "We're going to change that." Looking at Tillerson, Trump said, "I need you to get rid of that law," as if the Secretary of State had the power to magically repeal an act of Congress. Surprised at Trump's request, Tillerson first paused, then found his words. "Mr. President," he said, "I'm not the guy to do that." In a somber kind of Schoolhouse Rock episode that had become a regular feature of the Oval Office education of this president, Tillerson then said that Congress would have to be involved in any such repeal of the law. Trump didn't miss a beat. He was unmoved by Tillerson's explanation and turned instead to Stephen Miller, the White House's senior policy advisor who had long before proved that he could be relied upon to dutifully execute almost all of the president's wishes. "Stephen, I want you to draft an executive order and repeal that law," Trump decreed, evidently still unaware or unconvinced that he alone did not have the power to repeal the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act. Remarkable timing, right? For Philip Rucker and Carol Lenig's new book, including that reporting, to be released tomorrow. On the actual day, the president is going on trial in the United States Senate for his own alleged shakedown of a foreign leader, the defense to which is that he was trying to kibosh foreign corruption. And that's all he meant.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.